Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Playmakers. We've got a loaded episode today ranging from NFL to NBA. But before we start, I wanted to mention our new guest, Maya Peterson, producer of Playmakers here on campus, who will be switching with Anna every other week. This week, we dive into NCAA men's basketball as the season is finally reaching March Madness. The NBA All-Stars have been announced, so Maya and Jackson are going to take a deeper look into that. And then obviously, it's Super Bowl week, the biggest sports week of the year, so stay tuned as this episode is packed. But first on the slate this week is college basketball. Top teams fell apart while other top teams proved to be worthy of the spotlight, with March Madness slowly approaching. As I mentioned, some teams are seen by many to be contenders while others may be pretenders. So with that, let's kick off the first ever segment of Contenders or Pretenders. Okay, so first up, you guys, contender or pretender? Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Fraud.
Oh, wow. We're starting off.
I think the Gonzaga Bulldogs, they just don't play anybody good. They play the WCC. It's not even a great conference historically. Historically, it's not a great conference. This year, it's not a great conference. I mean, and they already have 2 losses, and so they had that tough part of their schedule where they played Texas, Texas Tech,
right.
UCLA. They had 3 wins there, but they also have 2 losses, one to an Alabama team that's kind of irrelevant at this point of the year. I think Gonzaga is not legit. We all fall for the Gonzaga hype every year. We fell for it last year. I'm not falling for it again.
I agree.
I see where you're coming from, and I do agree with their schedule. But I'm a huge fan of Chet Holmgren.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
He has turned up the last few weeks.
Yes, and I think that if he keeps playing the way he does, teams are going to have a problem putting up or guarding against this man and playing defense against him, because according to ESPN Stats and Information, he's the first Division I player this season to record at least 20 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 blocks in a game.
See, that's interesting, but this is where I'm going to agree with Jackson probably for the one and only time during this whole episode. But we said the exact same thing about Jalen Suggs last year, didn't we? Yeah. We were like, he's going to be the player to come in, and obviously Chet and Jalen Suggs come from the same neck of the woods. They run the same story. They're going to be great NBA players, but college is just one stop to help them get to that next level. Chet Holmgren, does he have anyone else to help him?
I mean, he's got Drew Timme.
Okay, but Jalen Suggs had Drew Timme last year and still didn't get a natty.
That's true. That is true. I mean, looking at these, like his stats right here against like San Diego and BYU, and he's putting up 20, 23 points against these teams. And when it comes to teams like UCLA, can he do that? Or when it comes to tournament time, is he going to be able to, give his team a win just himself? I mean, I don't think they can do that.
That's true, and if it comes down to the last 5 seconds, last second shot, I'm not giving it to Chet, especially if you're going to have to pass it into the post. We know how hard that is to do with 5 seconds left on the clock. This is not the same Jalen Suggs team. At least he had a good enough shot to get us to that next win.
I agree.
All right, a lot of good points there. Houston Cougars, contender or pretender?
This is like the one top 10 team that I am not super familiar with, but I will say this is another team where they have an easy schedule. They're not in a difficult conference, and I think that their schedule so far has not proven what they're capable of.
See, this is where I disagree because, we said the exact same thing with Gonzaga, and they're not in a great conference. But one thing that Houston has that these other teams don't have is this big 3. Fabian White, Kyler Edwards, and Josh Carlton. We always talk about depth, and we already know Bill Self loves to talk about how important rebounding is. I'm going to read off the stats because I don't want to get them wrong. Fabian White, 5.8 rebounds a game. Kyler Edwards, 2.7 assists but 5.9 rebounds, and Josh Carlton with 6.5 rebounds. To me, that's a well-rounded team. Whether it's a fast break or it's the second chance points, that's how you get to the Elite 8, Final 4, and hopefully a natty. And I know I'm a Texas girl, so I'm probably biased to Houston, but this is a team.
Well, and their defense is elite. They're said to be the hardest team to run an offense against, and like their stats, their opponents are only shooting 36%, and that's the lowest in Division I by nearly a point. And they've only allowed 60 points only 9 times this season.
Yeah, bottom line, Houston's legit. I mean, they're 20-2 for a reason, and they're doing this all without Marcus Sasser, who was a preseason, a guy that Houston could run their offense through. They don't have him anymore, but Kyler Edwards has been someone who's really stepped up and has been great. And I stand by this. I think Houston is the most underrated athletic program in the country as far as the whole athletic program. And Houston likes to do a little damage in the tournament, so I expect them to do that again. And I think Houston is legit.
Welcome to the Big 12.
Good points. Here's an interesting one. UCLA Bruins.
No.
Fraud.
A complete fraud.
Too inconsistent.
I don't know why they're necessarily ranked so high. I think that they are going to go out early, and I don't think they are, as good as people deem them as in the rankings right now. I mean, you can go out and beat Arizona and then lose questionable games to Arizona State. That's not going to happen. If you go to the playoffs, you got these first-round games against 16-seed teams. You can't go out and expect to beat them because they're a higher-ranked team.
That's right.
Right. They're too inconsistent.
You can only ride Johnny Juzang for so long, and that's the way I see that. And I watched that Arizona State game start to finish, and Tiger Campbell was nowhere to be found. I mean, Johnny Juzang had a great game, had to foul out. And then once it got into that second overtime, they didn't have Johnny Juzang for 5 minutes, and it just looked like a completely different team. I mean, Tiger Campbell couldn't score. Their center couldn't score. I mean, it was a pretty pathetic effort in that second overtime of the Arizona State game. And I mean, if your only offense is we're just going to give it to number 3 and get out of the way, you can't do that.
Their ability to make shots from the perimeter is far too inconsistent.
Right.
And that's not going to work for them.
One-dimensional teams don't do well in March, and this is a one-dimensional team that's not going to do well in March.
I agree.
Simple.
All right, heading over the Big Ten now. Purdue Boilermakers, contenders or pretenders?
I got the biggest smile across my face because I told you so. Purdue just went, they hosted Illinois. They had the number 3 ranking. Oh, Purdue shouldn't be number 3, and they beat Illinois by double digits. I mean, that was a complete effort. Jaden Ivey, Travion Williams, Zach Edey. This team is built to last. They're so good, and they're so deep. Purdue is probably the team I would put at number 1 right now. Because, I mean, I'm not exactly high on Gonzaga, as I've already said, but I love Purdue this year.
Look, this team is my Cinderella team, right? And we can say, like, in the rankings, they can't be a Cinderella team because they're top ranked, blah, blah, blah. No, this is a team that's unexpected, and that's what we look forward to. And for me, it all comes down to that last 10 to 15 seconds, who's going to be the greatest team. And I know we're going to talk about Kansas and how they're not the best at free throws. For Purdue, everyone that's dominant on this team is shooting free throws above 40%, in that 40% to 57% range. And if you get fouled in the post and it's time to take it to the line, I would count on anybody from this team to go to the line and get us and seal the win. So this is my unexpected but expected team.
You guys, I'm going to have to disagree with everything.
Oh,
that's
no.
why I pointed right out. I know what you're going to say. You're going to talk about their defense.
They have 100. I have so much here. 9 out of 10 NCAA teams have a top 10 defense efficiency and top 10 offense efficiency.
Okay.
Purdue's defense efficiency right now is at 146.
Timeout.
No.
What do you mean?
I'm not done.
Go on your tangent.
They've scored
I'm not
150
done.
points off of the last 323 possessions, good for about 1.28 points per possession, which, that's a good offense. They're running good offense right now, but if you look at the other side of things, having a good offense and no defense is not going to win you a championship. It's not.
Defense
it's not.
wins games.
It does.
Always has and always will.
Okay, counter to your point. Look at the top 10 teams. You have, for the defensive rating, you have Gonzaga, who plays out west at 10 p.m. and plays nobody. You have three teams in the Big 12, which is the conference of defense. We all know that. You have UCLA, Pac-12, Houston, AAC. This is the Big 10 team because they play against Johnny Davis twice a year, Kofi Cockburn twice a year. They play against Michigan State, who has, we saw them at the opening night of the year, who scored 78 points against a Kansas team. The Big 10 is the conference of offense. So, I mean, if you're going to explain the one blemish of defense in this Purdue team, I don't really think that's a valid
But that
argument.
blemish can hurt you so bad, and especially in the tournament. They can be fine and get away with an amazing offense right now, but tournament time, they can't get away with that.
I don't know.
Lightning round. 10
Lightning
seconds
round.
or less for everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Arizona Wildcats.
That's a contender.
Contender.
Yeah.
I like Arizona this year.
Yep.
Contender.
Dallin Terry.
Duke Blue Devils.
Contender. Because you got to go hard for Coach K's last season. This is a legacy season.
I wrote down contender. Coach K going nuts on his last season.
Exactly.
Duke's a fraud.
Oh,
okay.
God.
Kansas Jayhawks.
Pretender. And I'm going to stick with this
they're
until the
legit.
end of the season. We don't have depth to
And
to
lastly,
any of our stuff.
biggest upset, actually, Auburn Tigers.
I honestly believe this is a contender.
They're still a contender.
Because adversity builds great teams, and Auburn has that, and we got to love Coach Pearl. Come on now.
Yeah, I love Bruce Pearl. They're still a contender for sure.
All right, so after the break, we pivot over to the NBA All-Star Draft with Maya and Jackson. You don't want to miss it. With all the NBA All-Stars finally chosen and the draft tomorrow, Maya and Jackson are doing their own starter draft, and you guys will decide whose team is best. But without further ado, Maya, you're on the clock.
Okay, so I'm glad I get to go first because my first pick is pretty simple, but you're going to know this name holds a lot of weight. We're going with Steph Curry as my guard, pretty much a captain of the team. We already know he's a shooter, he's a dagger, he's going to pull up anywhere, and we're going to get easy points off the runs.
Well, I think the main thing in an all-star game is all about scoring, and so I'm going to go with the person who's averaging the second most points in the NBA right now, the world champion, the finals MVP, and my guy, everybody's guy. I'm going to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo to play my power forward for right now. That's why I like him right now. Giannis, obviously, 28.9 points per game. Guy's been lighting the NBA on fire like he has since he entered the league, or not entered the league, but made that stepping stone in his game, and I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. 5th straight all-star game, I want to say, and he's my starting power forward.
See, I'm going with depth, but I knew that if I didn't choose this person, I was going to get caught up with Giannis in the post. So I had to go Joel for my second pick. We all know he's a KU great. He knows how to hold it down in the post. Also, he knows how to play the mind games also in the paint. You know, with Giannis out there, and I know your next pick is going to be crazy, Joel's going to get in the head and be my Draymond Green of my team.
So somebody that Giannis Antetokounmpo had a little trouble stopping in the playoffs last year, I'm going to add him to my team. So I'm going to put Kevin Durant on my small forward right now. Not only do I get somebody that I don't have to worry of Giannis playing defense against, I can get Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo with probably 2 of the top 5 scorers in the NBA on my team, and I still have 3 spots to go here. So I really love where my team's at right now. Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, I like how it stacks up so far against Steph Curry and Joel Embiid.
Now, look, you said all-star games come down to points, but we also know it comes down to the Showtime players. So my next pick is the new kid on the block, Ja Morant. I love it. I can't wait to see him and Curry going back and forth, maybe a couple of alley-hoops things, and him and Joel. I'm telling you, my top 3 already, and my last 2 players are pretty cold, but top 3 looks better than this.
Well, this is the problem because I see Lily Hennick's over here in this corner, and she is fuming that no one has picked Nikola Jokic right now, and now she's really happy because I'm going to pick Nikola Jokic. Look at this front court. Durant, Giannis, and Jokic. Are you serious? Look at all the MVPs that not only I have already, but I could have here with Nikola Jokic. This is insane. How many MVPs? We got 2 here, and that's kind of it. All I'm saying is this front court is probably, if I were to hand select a front court of everybody in the NBA, I probably would go with these 3. I love the scoring of Kevin Durant. I love the defense combined with the scoring that Giannis provides. And I love the perimeter shooting. And I also love how I can take it to the rim with Jokic too. And especially with the guards that I have coming up, we can do some easy rim rolls. And this is going to be a team that can light it up on offense.
You know what? This is easily to disagree. Giannis has a ring. I'll give him that. Nothing against him. Durant needed Curry to get his ring. Jokic doesn't have a ring. So this top 3 is really not that big of a 3. Whoa, wait. Let me tell you guys my next pick, the king of basketball right now. And you guys know I'm not even a big fan of this person, but I love what he brings to the table. That's LeBron James. And I promise you, Durant can't stop him. Giannis can't stop him.
Durant can't stop him.
Jokic can't stop him in his prime. And we're getting to the end of James, but James and Curry, we all saw what happened at the All-Star game last year. This was an easy dub. So go ahead and give your last little picks, but y'all know who has the best team right now.
You can't make the ring argument with Ja Morant, who has no rings, Joel Embiid with no rings. You can't make the ring
sure?
argument.
How many rings does LeBron have?
4.
How many rings does your team have right now? How many
4.
rings does Curry have?
Couple more than that.
Can you do math? Curry plus James equals greater or less than what this team has right now?
In rings?
Just give your next pick, because I'm winning. I'm really winning right now.
My next pick is Trae Young. Guy's been lighting the NBA on fire right now. The reason why the Atlanta Hawks are good, I have a lot of playoff success on my team. I don't know what, I mean, John Morant's cool and all, but Trae Young's my guy. I love Trae Young, especially coming out of Oklahoma, a Big 12 guy. Obviously been at the Fieldhouse down the road a couple times. Trae Young has been a great scorer for Atlanta, and they've complimented him really well with Kevin Huerter and those guys out in Atlanta. I like Trae Young this year. He's had a great year, so he's gonna be my point guard of this team.
Okay, my last pick, just because we gotta love Chicago on this one. DeMar DeRozan, he's our sub, but he definitely deserves to be in the starting lineup. We can agree on that, right?
DeMar DeRozan has a great year. He's had a great year in Chicago. Probably the reason why Chicago's the 1 seed right now.
Exactly. So Curry, Morant, DeRozan, I think that's a great 3, and then James and Embiid just add on to that. So I had to mix my vets with my rookies to give that all-around great depth team.
So I was kind of left with the last guy, but I like this last guy, KU alum Andrew Wiggins. He's had a great year this year. Golden State is obviously a great team, but I think Andrew Wiggins is one of the reasons why Golden State is as good as they are. I think he complements Steph Curry really well. I didn't really want the same team backcourt in an All-Star game because I like to be fun. I like to do something different. So Trae Young and Andrew Wiggins, I think, are actually going to complement each other pretty well because Andrew Wiggins is a guy who really likes to get to the basket. Same thing with Durant and Giannis, and Trae Young's a guy who can't get to the basket. So I think it complements everything well. So yeah, I'm going to go with obviously Trae Young, Andrew Wiggins, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then Nikola Jokic is going to play my center.
One thing we can say is we're glad to have some KU alums on both teams that will add to this All-Star game. So no matter what, it's going to be a great team. But Caleb, whose team do you think is better?
Well, I got to say, they're pretty tight. I think Maya's team might have the edge, but you guys actually are going to let us decide or let us know whose team you think is the best by voting on our poll at Instagram on Good Morning Playmakers after the show. But after the break, we take a look into the most anticipated game of the year.
Why doesn't my skin look like theirs? Why is my nose so big? I'm never gonna look like those girls.
The biggest sports event of the year is here. It is Super Bowl week. Joe Burrow and the Young Gun Bengals take on the star-studded Rams. I'm stoked for this matchup, but before we start, someone on this table here is apparently a Chiefs fan, but Lily, I would like you to explain this image right here.
Okay, I was born in Kansas City, and then when I was like 4, we moved to Cincinnati for a year and a half, maybe, for my dad's job. And clearly, I was not old enough to dress myself, so someone dressed me in that outfit. So, yeah.
You have a right to what you wear, though. So
That's right.
Shout out to our graphics team for pulling
and
that.
is that your little brother?
Right.
Is that your little brother? Is that your little brother?
Yeah, that was my little brother.
All
And he
right.
was
So
with you,
to start off our predictions, Chiefs fan Lily, who do you got?
I have the Bengals here.
I didn't get to choose what I wear, but I do have the
I'm not
Bengals.
just saying that because I was wearing that outfit. I'm saying that because I truly like the way that Joe Burrow is carrying this team right now with Jamar Chase. He has so much swag. But the opening line has Rams 3.5, and the FPI prediction has Rams by 66%. So I am going to take the underdog in this game.
Maya, you're up.
Okay, for me, once again, I'm going with the underdog as well because they've continuously beat the lines, right? They beat the Chiefs twice, but also I just like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and this LSU team has been able to run it back continuously every single game. And another KU alum, Puka Williams, is going to get a Super Bowl ring in his first year in the NFL.
There you go. Okay, so I'm going to go with you guys, Bengals. I love Joe Burrow, and I need him to get a ring. Like you said, he's very swaggy. The only thing, though, is that the Bengals have protection issues. Joe Burrow cannot get sacked, and if he does get sacked, that just gives Matthew Stafford more possessions, and that cannot happen. So if they can stay consistent, if Joe Burrow can get it downfield, Bengals are winning the Super Bowl.
Right here, this camera. We need to have a heart-to-heart. These people don't matter right now. This Super Bowl is for Nick Foles, for Steven Jackson. This is for all the gold helmet. This is for everything. I am a ginormous Rams fan. Camera's flipped, my bad. Right here. I'm telling you right now, my emotions are going to be running so high. I'm going with the Rams. I'm not giving a score. They said Joe Burrow's got swag. Swag don't win you games. Aaron Donald is going to eat on their offensive line. I'll play the simple matchup game. I'd take Jalen Ramsey over Jamar Chase. I would take Darius Williams on a guy like Tyler Boyd. And I would take Troy Reader on a guy like C.J. Uzomah. I don't think the Bengals have the defensive personnel to keep up with the Rams offense. I'm not giving you a score, but I think I'm going to be a very happy man come Sunday night. Yes, you, Bengals fan.
Here's your reason for concern.
Ooh, got him.
Sean McVay.
Why is he a reason for concern?
Now, don't get me wrong. I like him a lot. I do. But his haphazard of timeout use is not very well. And his play calling can be sometimes overthought when it comes to those, you're down to nitty gritty, you need something big right here. I don't like the way he adjusts his defense to how well an offense is playing. And considering how well the Bengals offense is playing, I don't know that he can adjust his defense properly to stop the Bengals offense.
He's got a week to prepare for this team, 2 weeks to prepare for this team. I'm playing the simple matchup game, and matchup game goes to head coaching too, and I like Sean McVay over Zach Taylor, and that's just the way I see everything. But the head man's got to make his pick too.
As Jackson said, it's a game of matchups, and this Bengals O-line gave up 9 sacks to the Titans. This is the best D-line in football. Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd even. I mean, this team could combine for 15 sacks on Joe Burrow. I think that's all it's going to do. You can't count Joe Burrow out, but I just think the Jalen Ramsey, the Aaron Donald, that defense is just going to be too much for Burrow. So I got the Rams winning this one. But that's all the time we have today. So make sure you tune in next week as we continue to break down each and every headline in sports. And also make sure to tune in to Playmakers this Friday as they preview the Super Bowl, take a deep dive into KU's softball preseason, and take a look into the Winter Olympics. But until then, from the cast to you, have a great week.